Hello, this is a review video of your 4th grade Chapter 12 workbook, Lesson 6. Chapter 12, Lesson 6, page number 673. If you're following along in this Chapter 12 video series, you'll realize that we skipped quite a few lessons, and I give a little bit more of a detailed explanation of that in the previous video, but all of these lessons are regarding customary units of measurement. And as the state of Ohio does not require customary units of measurement of our 4th graders, we are skipping up to the metric. So we're going to only be talking about metric units of length, metric units of liquid volume, metric units of mass, not customary. I encourage you to go back and do those lessons, complete those lessons, because here in the States, that we use those customary units. We're just not going to be teaching them, and I'm not going to be requiring those of you this week. So, metric units of length. How can you use length? How can you use models to compare metric units of length? If we were in the classroom, we would do this activity on page 673, where we would cut out meter stick strips, and we would place the strips end to end to build 1 meter. And then we would tape those together and we would look at them and we would say, we would be able to see based on those things about a meter is how much. But based on what we know about the metric system from lesson 12.1, we know that, like place value, the metric system is based on multiples of 10. Each unit is 10 times as large as the next smaller unit. So when we have a centimeter is 10 times as large as a decimeter. What that means is that there are 10 centimeters, wrong side, 10 centimeters in 1 decimeter. So this is a decimeter. There are 10 centimeters in a decimeter. There are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. That is just like our place value. Like place value, the metric system is based on multiples of 10. And so because we know that, we don't need to do all, as much as I would love to, and it would really enhance the lesson, we don't need to go through all this. We know that 1 meter is 10 times as long as 1 decimeter. We know that 1 decimeter is 10 times as long as 1 centimeter. We know that 1 centimeter is 10 times as long as 1 millimeter. And so on your chart right here, in your book right here, you're going to put 10, 10, 10. We know that each metric unit is 10 times as long as the next smaller unit, which would be a pattern that we would see and we would write there. And so we know these things and we can move forward. Page 675. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about converting centimeters to millimeters, converting meters to centimeters, okay? And so I want you to really focus on this chart right here, metric units of length. I really want you to focus on this chart and see that this chart is really kind of going to give you a little bit of a foundation to build on. So it talks about how 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. We just talked about that. 1 decimeter equals 10 centimeters. As I stated in the first video, lesson 12.1, the kicker to all of this, I think, is going to be a sheer memorization of the order of these things on page 642. Meter is your baseline, right? Then decimeter is 1 inch small, 10 times smaller. Centimeter and millimeter. It's 10 times the value, okay? And so that's really going to be the kicker, is memorizing the order of those things. And so we are going to be able to understand that when we hop from unit to unit, when we hop from here to here, we know that it takes approximately 10 hands to show the width of this door. So we're multiplying this times 10. So if we have 2 meters then we're going to multiply that. So if we have 2 meters, we're going to multiply 2 times 10, and that is going to give us 20. It takes 20 decimeters to cover the space of 2 meters. So 2 doors, 20 hands, right? When we're hopping from spot to spot, we are multiplying by 10. Now, as you see on your first one, it's asking you to convert meters to centimeters. So, are we doing only one hop? No, we're doing 2 hops. So we're going from here to here. We're going to multiply times 10 again. If I go from from meters to decimeters, that goes from 2 to 20. If I go from decimeters to centimeters, that goes from 20 to 200. Now, in my class over the course of this school year, we've talked a lot about adding zeros and replacing zeros and removing zeros and hiding zeros. Zeros are really, really flexible. As long as you put them back, or as long as you understand, you can just add zeros. So if we know that we're going to be making 2 hops here, all we have to do is put 2 zeros at the end of that number. So here on number 1, 2 meters is the same as how many centimeters? Again, we're making 2 hops, hop, hop, from the 2 to the 200. So we're going to write a 200 there on that line. And the reason that we can do that is because we know that from meters, you have decimeter and then centimeter. We know that that is the order. And so because we know that, we can put the right amount of zeros there. So, number 2, 3 centimeters is the same as how many milliliters? Millimeters. Sorry, we're talking about measurement of length, not volume. And so we have 3 centimeters. How many centimeters do we have? 3. If we have 3 centimeters and we're going to hop to millimeters, we are going to multiply times what? 10. When we multiply times 10, that's going to turn our millimeters into how many? 3 times 10 equals 30. So I have 3 centimeters. That's 30 millimeters, okay? Okay, this is just a matter of practice now. This is a matter of practice of you remembering what the order of these things are, understanding that the one without the prefix is kind of your baseline, meter, and then decimeter, centimeter, millimeter, getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then the meter also goes up, which we will talk about a little bit later, okay? So, excuse me, goodness. That is the review for Chapter 12, Lesson 6 in your 4th grade Go Math Workbook. We completed we talked about pages 673 and 675, just giving you an understanding of how to complete these things. Go to Think Central, do the practice session, use those buttons, show me an example, give me step by step, check my answer. Use those buttons in Think Central to help you be able to complete these things with as much support and as much teaching as possible when I can't physically be there. So, Chapter 12, Lesson 6 in your 4th grade Go Math Workbook. Thank you so much.